I'm going to start out with them worried about my hair texture. They said, oh, we thought your hair couldn't wave. So they go from that to making suggestions of what I should talk about in this video. They're upset because all of them didn't know the truth, but a lot of them did know the truth about the 1991 incident. And they thought they could confuse me because they said that's part of why they create this whole system of hitting me in the head, creating dreams, not allowing me to sleep, and then doing after images to overlay things. Because the thought is that if they can confuse me, I won't remember what really happened. So they keep trying to confuse the timeline of when things happened, what happened, who was involved. But they're realizing now it didn't work before. I think part of it was they said they used to do these things in buildings or homes that weren't fireproof. And because I lived in fireproof buildings, it made it difficult. I don't know if that's true. They just knocked. And also, they're upset that there's so much evidence that this is happening. So they said, now that they're pulling school records, now I know they don't have my consent to pull my school records, but if that other person gave her consent to pull her school records, they said it's in her school records. I believe that, part of why I believe it is because I know that it was a big deal, not the part that involved me and the person I told, but I guess what happened in her school. And that's my whole point. I think what happened in 1991, because of my age, I'm 49, we didn't have social media. Had we had social media, all of these things would have come out like that, and it would have come out as it went along. It's hard now thinking about it because I said that before that, the kids now are savvier than we were. And I think in a way they're savvier than adult us because they had access to certain types of information that we didn't have access to. So when something happened, you had to call someone. And if you don't have that telephone number, there's no text messages or voicemail. We had call waiting, but we didn't have, I don't think we had voicemail. Definitely not voicemail, but like answering machines. I don't think so. So for the most part, you had to call someone or you had to see that person. We didn't have the access to things like a cell phone where you could just send a text. So getting information from, and this is what I'm going to call this, getting information from one person to the next involved getting in contact, getting in touch with someone. That's part of when they talk about certain things. They're trying to collect information about me, meaning they didn't have it all along. And they thought I wouldn't want to talk about this. I am so happy to talk about it because it's a way of getting information. I'm trying to get this information out to somebody. And so that you won't be victimized the way I was or the way the other, I call her a young lady, but she was a kid. We were kids. It was hard to get information to people. And that's how this works. They don't want us to have information. The more information you have, the better. So they try to say, well, there was a problem with me. There was not a problem with me. And that's part of why I got the references and I put it up line so that you have access to that information. And they said the streets didn't know me. Of course not. The streets didn't know me. And that's part of why getting information is so important. I can't even imagine how we lived back then, where we had to call someone up. And we didn't have cell phones, so you had to wait until you got home, or you had to use a pay phone, or you had to find a phone. We didn't have text messages. So a lot of this, and I don't think we had answer machines. I'm not sure, but I didn't have an answer machine. So in order to record something, you had to put like a little recorder to something and hope that the recorder picked it up. And it was harder. And that's part of what I'm saying. When they're talking about this and saying that they were recording things about me, do you know the technology that would have been involved in the 80s and those 70s, 80s, 90s, and 2000s that they would have had to have access to? Do you know that type of technology and how expensive it was? I said before that people didn't have cell phones. None of the people I grew up with had cell phones. And that's part that I want to convey to you is that getting the information was the biggest part. Having information is one thing. Anyone can have it, but how do you get that information from you to the next person? That's my point. So when they're saying that the streets didn't know me, I didn't have all these problems, that's my point. But it's important to me right now when these people are attacking me that I get this information into the hands of someone else. I'm really angry, as you can tell, that no one's stopping this system. So they said they thought it was some sort of restitution. To hit me in the head is restitution, to yell out lies, to embarrass someone who I think is too mentally ill to realize that she's as mentally ill as she is. That's my point. They put her voice out loud so everyone can hear her. And she couldn't absorb, like, she said, I was her closest friend. This is the same one, the elementary schoolmate, who I'm her closest friend. And I'm telling in every video all day, I hear you, you're out loud, everyone hears you. And she can't absorb because she's too mentally ill, just like back then. And that's what I'm saying. If I can just get the information out to the world, that this is a bad group of people who take advantage of people, and they're using people who are too mentally ill to understand that your voices are recordable, and they're outside, and people are using it to blackmail people, and people are trying to get information on other people about different situations, and they're cowards who can't come forward and confront people. They use this electronic harassment to harass people. And that's my point. At what point do we as a society say we cannot keep exploiting people, especially not children? And they said this was a child prostitution ring. Now, I can't say that's true, but if they use this type of technology on children, I don't know what technology existed then, because they keep saying, well, why am I not saying certain things? Because I don't know. I wasn't the one doing it. Had I been the one doing it, I would have been able to. So they said, it's your big mouth, meaning my big mouth, that gets me in trouble. No, my big mouth not only saved my life, but saved several other people's lives, because these people are killers. They kill people. And that's why I have to get this information out every day I can. I'm going to end this video so I can do another video once they talk some more. Thank you for watching.